Hi, everyone. This is Pam Torrey from Ingage, and you're listening to the Ingaged podcast. We know tech is changing the way people market and sell now more than ever. And on this show, I sit down with sales and marketing thought leaders and experts to learn how you can create, share, and measure your way to success. Today, we're sitting down with Taylor Haynes, COO at One Click Contractor, who's joining us to share insights on what it takes to build a strong, effective team in the home improvement tech space. Taylor brings a wealth of knowledge and a fresh perspective on everything from fostering collaboration to scaling your business for success. Thanks for joining us today, Taylor.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, we're pretty excited to have you on. One Click Contractor has been a long time partner. I've been here for about 5 years at this point, and I remember meeting somebody from One Click Contractor like my second week on the job. So you guys have been with us a long time, and we're really happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're big fans of Ingage and the team there, and we of course have a great integration. But beyond just the technology, it's the people behind it, and so likewise, we appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
Well, let's start with a little bit about you. Can you share a bit about your background and what led you to this role of COO at One Click Contractor? And kind of more importantly, like what drew you to the home improvement and contractor tech space?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was not a straight line, I can tell you that. I went to West Point, the United States Military Academy for school. I'd always grown up wanting to jump out of airplanes and shoot machine guns. And so, grew up wanting to be an Army man. So I went and graduated from the military academy, was commissioned as an infantry officer in the Army, went through the airborne and ranger school kind of pathway, had a great experience serving in the Army for 5 years. And the reason I bring all that up is because it was really all about leadership training and education. And, it wasn't necessarily the thing at the top of my mind at the time, but that was really instrumental in forming me and really informing my career beyond that. And after I got out of the Army, I got into a variety of entrepreneurial type ventures. I've just always had that bug and that itch. So I've worked in a number of different industries and really always with an eye towards trying to form and build and grow great teams. And that's something that I really enjoy doing. And prior to One Click, I was working in a private equity role. Ryan Lococo, our CEO, and I intersected there. That's where we met and got to know one another. And we came across One Click doing research on the market and met Dale Thornberry and Chris Thornberry and some of the very early team members, and really just fell in love with the product, fell in love with this space and this industry, and with the team. And it's been a great opportunity. I've been here for about 3 years now and have really enjoyed my time here and growing this team, growing this business, and having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I always joke that people just kind of fall into home improvement. I know so many people with really disparate backgrounds. Like Dean, our CEO, used to be a math teacher. We have you from the military. I have 2 degrees in opera performance. I know a couple of our partners have been professional athletes. We have people who've come from other industries doing very different lines of work. It's kind of like a place where everybody just ends up.
I am now very curious to hear some of your opera performance. So,
You can
uh,
find me on the internet. I am
all
I
right,
am there.
cool. I will.
But I do think it's just I always find it to be so fascinating, all the different backgrounds that everybody comes from. And the thing is, like, this industry can sort of use every single perspective. Like, it welcomes the perspectives. And I feel like there are so many applicable soft skills that we get from all these disparate backgrounds that lend to this industry and lend to building great teams. And so I kind of want to build off of what you were talking about, with like things that you learned at the military academy and things you've learned in previous roles. Like building a team is really hard and growing a team is even harder. So, what do you believe are the core qualities that make a team not just functional, but great? And how do you go about fostering those qualities at One Click Contractor?
Yeah, I mean, uh, it's a great question, and I think that uh, for many of us, we've had an experience of being on a great team. Probably all of us have an experience of being on a not so great team. And one of the things that we learned at the military academy is that you learn more from those negative experiences, and you learn more from not so great leaders than you do from the great leaders. So, one thing that I took away from that was just constantly trying to be learning about how to build a team, how to pull people together. A lot of it comes down, in my opinion, to having people that are aligned, and some of that you can take care of in hiring and good hiring practices and recruiting people that that have that certain set of character traits. A lot of it comes down to communication, making sure that you continuously build on alignment. And a lot of it, I really believe, just is a matter of appreciating people for who they are. We're all different, and we all have different strengths and weaknesses. And so being able to get to know someone, and try to really and truly appreciate them and understand what makes them tick is, I think, is a skill set. And some might think of it as, kind of a personality trait. Oh, that person's real good with people. But I think it can be a skill set as well, where even if you're not necessarily wired that way, you can learn to take the time to get to know people and appreciate them, and appreciate, again, what makes them tick, and is gonna help set them up for success so that they can become the best version of themselves. And I believe that we all want to be good at our jobs, and we all want to be successful. We all want to be, an important part of a good team, and it's very fulfilling when we're able to do that.
That's interesting because in the home improvement industry, like boots on the ground, selling in the home, there is a lot of emphasis put on personality profiles. We see like DISC talked about a lot, or other hiring profiles. I find it to be interesting that when we're coming at this from the technology perspective and supporting these businesses, there is an element that can be taught. You don't necessarily have to be the most extroverted person to be customer facing, but what you were saying there is it's more about kind of the drive, the empathy, the willingness to connect with people and communicate, and you can sort of teach some of those other skills around like the hard skills of customer connection.
Well, 100%. I believe that you can, and I think this is really a both and sort of
Mhm.
answer. I think there are personality traits that are going to set you up for success more in particular roles. And you mentioned sales there, and obviously at Engage and at One Click, we're both working with sales teams quite a bit and trying to empower them and set them up for success. I think that any one of the quadrants on the disc profile, you can be successful in sales. But I also believe that there are certain characteristics that are likely to make you more successful, especially if you're going door to door. It's a tough job, a tough task out there.
It is definitely a different beast. I started off in sales at Engage, and I can tell you for a fact there are some of us who are in quadrants where we can do sales. We probably shouldn't do sales. It
What
is funny. I actually took the test and I line up directly with the marketing quadrant. So I
is that
thought that
right?
was, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I took the profile. We had Brad Yoho from Dave Yoho Associates on a webinar with us, I believe last year, where he did all the profiles. And so it is, I do find that to always be funny that we all kind of sort of end up aligning with those things. Now, Taylor, I know that as COO, you have had a major major viewpoint as you've grown One Click Contractor. And One Click Contractor has become like a real force to be reckoned with in this industry. And I'm really curious about the kinds of strategies that you have found really effective when scaling your team, but also simultaneously maintaining the company culture at One Click.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you talk about scaling, you talk about adding to the team, I'm referenced, hiring practices are critical to making sure that when we bring someone into this culture, and we've got a great culture, we work hard on it. We think it's special. We think it's great. We think that it belongs to all of us, and so you really don't want to bring in someone that's not going to buy into that culture and enjoy the benefits of that culture. So we actually, you mentioned disc profile. We actually use a tool called the Culture Index, which is sort of a variation on the theme there. And it evaluates basically one's personal character traits as well as their character traits as they relate to their role in a team, and so those can be different. And a lot of times we'll see that that someone might not be the type of profile that we'd like to have for the particular role that we're hiring. But if they're really, if they've got a great track record and background, then we can make exceptions to that rule. But we do find that there are certain characteristics that are important for various roles. And of course, it's different between sales, marketing, our software developers team, our customer success team. So it helps us to be a little bit smarter. And I always believe that you're not going to get every hire correct. Nobody does. And so any little incremental advantage that we can get there is beneficial to us. And again, we want to be protective of this culture. So it's important that we work hard to get it right.
Yeah, I find that to be interesting. We actually ran into the situation a few years ago here where we had two people in the hiring funnel. We really, really liked both of them. We thought they were really good culture fits. And we actually ended up swapping them across teams because we were like, wait a second, these skill sets fit here, but you're talking about like, how does their personality align with the culture? And you don't necessarily want to give up somebody like that who's in the funnel if they are a great cultural fit for your company. Maybe they're just applying for the wrong role. And it's a great way to be able to kind of gut check that, is to have this cultural index. Like, are they a good fit for our company? Yes. We might want to hire them for something else. We just talked about hiring and how important that is to finding people who are going to fit into your culture and really help you to grow the company. But that's really just one part of the equation. So I'm curious about the steps that you take to ensure that your team stays engaged and motivated over time, especially considering how quickly evolving this industry is. Things seem to be moving a mile a minute here, and we have all of these new innovations. So, how do you really keep everybody engaged?
Great question. One that we're constantly trying to continuously build on. We have, again, I mentioned at the top that we focus a lot on communication, just trying to make sure that we have alignment and we continue to build on that alignment. Just letting folks across our business know what's going on. Just today, for example, we had one of our monthly all hands meetings where we try to make sure that we're getting the right information out to everyone across the business so that there's inter-team collaboration and people have visibility on it. We also work on just trying to have fun. So like we do a Halloween event every year where we have a costume contest. We do little things like that and try to continuously find things. Our whole team is remote, so that adds a layer of complexity to it. But I think that at the end of the day, like I said, people want to be a part of a great team. And so We're just trying to bring them in and make sure that they feel that they're a part of it. Anybody's welcome to ask questions, and we'll do everything we can to, to make sure that they've got the information they need to build on that alignment. So I'm always interested in learning additional things that we can do, because I feel like it's kind of a never-ending task to get that culture built and solidified and continuously improving.
Yeah, the management of a remote team is truly a very unique challenge. I'm in that boat as well. I'm really lucky because a decent chunk of my team actually lives in the same city that I do, but it is challenging when you're trying to get everybody connected and you're dealing with the fact that we're in different time zones when we're doing our team meetings. Some people it's first thing in the morning, some people they've been working for a few hours. It's really challenging. So it's good to hear that you're like constantly trying to get feedback and innovate on that, because it's the only way that you're going to keep everybody connected.
Can I turn it around real quick?
Oh,
Are there certain
sure.
things that you do or that y'all do at Engage that work really well?
Yeah, I mean, my team we do an annual offsite together. We always do it in Chicago because that's where a bunch of us live. And we make it a big thing. We have to be on a boat for at least part of that because it's
Ah, I
summer.
love it.
Well, it's summer in Chicago. If you're not in a boat, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
But we did some fun stuff this year where we all had matching t-shirts with like our company mascot on them. He's like an internal company mascot. And we have a weekly meeting. We actually have 2 weekly meetings as a marketing team. Just trying to like stay connected with each other. I think one thing though that's really hard with disparate teams, remote teams, or even with our customers, when we think about our home improvement customers who've got team members who are consistently out in the field and then folks who are in the office, is that cross collaboration that can be really challenging. And so like, are you making space for that? I think is a
Right.
huge question that we all need to be asking, whether it's us who are managing remote teams or you are somebody managing a team in a home improvement office where half your crew is out doing production or sales and the other half is sitting in the office. They may go weeks without seeing each other.
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
problem. So it's a huge challenge in today's world with trying to manage these teams. We've had some conversations with some of our customers recently about this issue. And I look to people like Brianna Hetherington at Altruistic Advisory for advice on this, because she's all about company culture and all about trying to build teams. And it's like, how do we get that kind of face time?
Hmm.
And I think one of the elements there though is technology. And I know you guys at One Click Contractor are really big on trying to bring the best technology to bear, not only for our customers, but also for your internal team, for your internal customers. So can
Hmm.
you talk a little bit about how you leverage technology in building and managing your team? Like what role does tech actually play in keeping everybody on the same page, keeping them connected, keeping them aligned, making sure that we're all being productive so that tech doesn't become a hindrance to doing our jobs, but instead supports
Right.
us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Uh, it's it is a balancing act, because there can be a temptation to just sort of, rely on tech to solve everything, and it doesn't. And there's certain challenges that it's better to handle interpersonally, handle face to face. But we do rely on tech a lot, and it's tremendous. And if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would find myself managing a totally remote team, I would say I hope not, because I don't think it would go well, and now I've changed my tune entirely, and I really feel like um, there's a lot of advantages to being remote. And obviously we're seeing that in a lot of different aspects and a lot of different industries. But so, specific tools that we use, we are a Google shop, so we're on the Google suite of products, and we use those products all the time. We're on video conferences all the time. We use Slack, so in terms of intercompany communications, it's just much faster than email. It allows us to have group chats. I had heard about Slack before I came over here. I'd never used it, and it seemed like maybe overhyped. And now I'm a huge fan, and it's so nice to be able to just put a quick message out, whether it's to one person or whether it's to 4 or 5 people. And then it's also entertaining because we got a fun group, and they're constantly sharing memes and videos and silly stuff like that make things more enjoyable. We use HubSpot as our CRM, and so just having a solid CRM in place really helps with the sales and the marketing. We also use it for customer success, and we use a number of other tools as well. But in terms of like the collaboration across the team, just kind of communication, those are the primary ones that we rely on.
Yeah, see, this is why we're friends, is that we use basically all the same software and
Right.
Engage that you guys do at One Click. Yeah, I am the HubSpot queen, and we are big fans. But it does really make a difference when you have ways to easily get in touch with each other. 'Cause I know at my previous company, we were a Google shop as well, but we didn't have a tool like Slack. We all used Hangouts, and
Mhm.
I cannot tell, like Slack makes such a difference in being
Yeah.
able to work remotely. We were all in an office there at that job, but we had offices in multiple countries. And it was so complicated to just have a quick conversation with someone because I was like,
Yeah.
crap, what time is it in Hong Kong? Can I call her or do a like if we had just had Slack, it would have been so much easier. And I think that it's such a simple tool to think about implementing, but so
Mhm.
powerful.
It really is. It really is. Like I said, I had heard about it, didn't think that much of it. And I'll probably use it at any business that I'm at for the rest of my career now.
Yeah. It's one of the perks of being in charge is that you get to tell people what software you're gonna use.
But I think that even if I join a business where I'm not in charge, I'll lobby very hard for it because it's that good.
Right up that proposal.
Yeah.
Well, Taylor, to close us out, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are quickly approaching the new year. What is one trend that you think business owners should really be focused on right now?
Well, it is hard to believe we're getting close to the end of the year, and here comes 2025 right around the corner, so that's exciting. I was just looking at some data within the past week or so, looking at what's expected in our industry, and we're looking for an uptick in spending in the remodeling industry, so that's exciting.
Good news. We love to hear it.
Yeah, right. Spending is still at very very close to all-time highs. Even now in 24 where things have dipped a bit. So I think that we're looking towards a good year coming up. Um, One of the trends that we've noticed, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but one of the trends that we've noticed is that marketing seems to be more difficult. People are saying that leads are more expensive, leads are harder to come by, good leads. Um, and so I think there's more competition for the remodelers out there, for the contractor. And so largely we're seeing that the large players are doing quite well, and they've got the ability to spend money in that marketing engine and to chase those leads, and they have good processes and procedures in place. The smaller remodeling businesses, I think are struggling more than the larger ones. Just on a direct apples to apples comparison, it's a little bit tougher when you're a small business. So probably the biggest trend that I would look to is kind of I don't want to be too broad with this answer, but I would say professionalism. So if you're that $2 million business and you're competing with a $200 million business, it's possible to win. It's not easy. And I think the way to win is to exhibit professionalism that puts you on par with that $200 million business. And and so things that we think about at One Click that help you be competitive in that sales cycle, if you can turn your estimate around super fast and it's dead to nuts accurate, and you're able to make your presentation during that first meeting with the customer, you're much more likely to win that business than if you have to go back to the office and put your estimate together and put your proposal together, and then 3 days later you're calling and trying to schedule a meeting. So that's an example of things that we see, and obviously this happens to tie directly in with Ingage, because having a presentation tool like Ingage, where you've got this really beautiful presentation, combined with the power of an accurate and fast estimate, that $2 million business suddenly looks like they're a $200 million business, and they're able to win business from the big guys.
Yeah, the competition is fierce. I think that with the consolidation in this industry and the advent of private equity in home improvement, which is pretty new, like private equity was not playing in this space 5 years ago when I started at this company. It's a new thing. You're seeing these behemoths sort of come in and eat up the market, and they're investing so much money in their appearance, their brand, their aesthetic. Then you've got the smaller companies that, maybe are family owned. They're just doing their job. They're doing their thing. It's a lot harder to go up against one of those big fish. And so, yeah, you've got to put on your best face essentially to go talk to every single customer. And so true about the leads being harder to generate and being more expensive. Like, we think about all the things like you and I love about our email service providers that now prevent cross-app tracking, that don't tell companies exactly what we're doing with their emails. Like, I love that data privacy. I love
Right.
the fact that I'm not being stalked on the internet by as many companies anymore. But we also forget that all of our customers also love that. And so it's become harder to gather data on the people who are interacting with our site, our email, our social. And therefore, it's become more challenging to generate leads. And so you've got to do more with less.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and professionalism is such an underrated part of that, though. I think we always talk about, like, do you have your tech stack? Do you have your training? Okay, but what's the ultimate goal of that? The ultimate goal is to do big company stuff. You want to look like a big company, even if you aren't.
Yeah, yeah, and one of the themes that was beat into my head in the military was attention to detail, and just over and over and over they'd talk about attention to detail, to the point that it sounded like it was maybe a little overstated, but this is an example where that attention to detail, just all the little small things a contractor can do, and in a lot of cases it's not that much more expensive. It doesn't require that much more time or effort, but if you get all the little things right, you really exhibit a different face to the consumer. And when you're at the kitchen table, trying to close business, every little detail counts.
Well, I think that is a great place to leave it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Taylor.
Yeah, thank you, Bam. Really appreciate it. It's great to see you, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Ingaged podcast. Be sure to visit ingage.io for more information on how to create, share, and measure your way to success. If you love the Ingaged podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time.